In the boundless void of infinity, there is no distance. In the endless measure of eternity, there is no time. But man needs parameters to gauge his progress, to put all things into perspective. This is the year he has numbered 2000 AD, having chosen the birth of a prophet on which to hang his recent history.
Early morning in Moffat, the people of the small country town wake up and set about their daily lives. Ordinary people, ordinary lives, but each contributing to the complex of the community. Tony Byers slips news, good and bad, through the Park Circle letterboxes on his daily delivery of mail. Tommy Johnson puts the pinters on the doorsteps of Beatock and Moffat. At Chapel Farm, Ian and Duncan have chores to do before school.
At lambing time, we get up at 7. Dad's always away by 5. We help Mum feed the pet lambs. Dad generally gives us a pet lamb for ourselves, and we rear it on and sell it at the market in the back end. When we get home from school, we help around the farm, have supper, then we have to get our homework done. The infrared lamps keep the lambs warm. We don't want them to get pneumonia or watery mouth.
All these jobs take time. With the boys helping out, their father is left free to get on with his other work. To employ an extra farmhand would cost a minimum of £175 a week. Father, Tom Hutchison, appreciates the help.
Without Judith and the boys helping out, we would never manage to make a living. Chapel extends to about 800 acres, half being open hill and half enclosed fields, all in grass. We run a self-contained sheep flock of 800 ewes, breeding all our own female replacements and buying in only tups. The flock consists of 500 black-faced and cheviot ewes on the hill, and 300 black-faced and grey-faced ewes in the fields, with all lambs surplus to breeding requirements sold fat. We also run a single suckler herd of 70 mainly blue-grey cows, with all hay and silage grown at home. The day-to-day running of the farm is carried out by my wife and myself, bolstered by the invaluable assistance of my 82-year-old father.
The hub of the enterprise is in the farm kitchen. It is office and animal hospital, a warm shelter from the storm, and somewhere for Ian and Duncan to get a quick breakfast before school. But the Hutchisons are not the only early risers. David and Alistair have been up since 4, attending to the family business. The bakery business has been in the family since 1932. They bake on the premises, producing around 20 different types of bread and rolls. Cottage loaves, pans, whole wheat, bran, soda bread, finger rolls, dinner rolls and now a new fruit loaf, the Moffat Tasty. Then there are the cakes. Over at Crosslawburn, Mrs. Patterson is having her new house built. It is part of a private estate that will eventually include 54 houses. Only a fortnight ago, Neil Anderson and Donald Walker were taking the levels and pegging out the plot. Hard on their tracks, Bob Little came in with his mini digger. The houses are built by local tradesmen, the timber frame kits constructed in Moffat by local joiners Curry and Borthwick. The topsoil is kept separate. It will be used later for the garden. The ready-mix concrete is roaded in from Ecclefechan. A sound foundation is at the base of every good home. 6 inches of concrete is the minimum. Ian and Duncan get a lift to school in the car. It is about 1.5 miles to walk, and with farm chores to do, it's too much for them. Judith generally has things she must do in the town anyway. The school bus would pick them up if they were 3 miles or more from the school. The shops are opening their doors. Blair Blacklock attends to the weekly flotsome. Margaret lines up the troops and reduces the homemade fudge to manageable portions. It's another day and the machinery of Moffat slips into gear. Gas, electricity and oil are the main sources of home heating, but the demand for coal is still as sufficient to keep James Miller in a job. And Andy finds it worthwhile travelling 120 miles from Pittenweem to bring his fresh fish to the doors of Moffat. There is no other fishmonger in town. Haddock, £4 a pound, cod is scarce and expensive at over £5 a pound.
Okay then, thanks. Bye.
Once a week the bin lorry calls to take away the refuse, the cost included in the council tax. Alistair MacDonald sails down to Greaves the newsagents for his paper. Some people still have them delivered. Alistair likes the exercise. The popular tabloids are aimed at the mass market, with the broadsheets concentrating on in-depth coverage of the issues of the day. You can buy your lottery tickets here too, and just about everything else that comes under the rough heading of stationery and accessories.
Right, lovely. Okay, marvellous. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Bye now.
Janice quickly started work in the office at Schoolers, the Builders and Joiners 3 months ago. She has lived in Beattock and Moffat all her life, on the family farm, and now in her home in Old Carlisle Road, where her mother runs a bed and breakfast business. The ledger system is a legacy of the last owner. It has a proven record, but computer technology will soon be moving in. Janice is ready for it. It's 9 o'clock. School is starting just up the road. The town pupils walk to school, but a large number are transported in from outlying areas by bus or taxi. All ages of children attend the school, from nursery at age 4 right through to 6th year pupils at university entry level. Mr. Brown, the rector, likes to be here well before the students so that he can at least start the day ahead of events.
Today my job is multifaceted. It is that of curriculum manager, administrator, business manager, advisor, staff tutor, confidant and teacher. There have been massive changes in the curriculum in the last 10 years, with the introduction of preschool education, 5 to 14, standard grade and most recently higher still, which emphasises the core skills of literacy, numeracy, problem solving, working with others and IT. The latter has massive resource implications which will not disappear as technology constantly requires to be updated. Discipline is in the spotlight, with targets for zero exclusion, which we have managed to meet to date with a range of remedial alternatives. Following the massacre of school children at Dunblane, attention focused on risk management. Our response was to install CCTV, whilst maintaining an open door approach. We have a programme of personal and social education covering careers, study skills, citizenship, self-esteem, bullying and health education, including issues which feature in our society, such as drugs, smoking and alcohol abuse. In the secondary sex education programme, contraception and sexually transmitted diseases are sensitively addressed. The emphasis in all cases is on our young people making informed choices and building caring relationships.
It's not all academic. Physical activities are incorporated within the curriculum, and there are extracurricular clubs, such as this one for junior gymnasts, run by Chris Hastings. The proximity of the ice rink at Lockerbie has fostered a strong local interest in curling. P7 pupils are offered a taster session with expert instruction, in the hope that it may whet their appetites for later involvement. In the barber's shop in Wells Street, Helen is snipping busily, earning herself a modest £3 a head for a short back and sides. Short hair is very in vogue. Very short for the very young. No one minds waiting their turn at the barber's. It's a good chance to get an update on all the local gossip that never quite reaches the papers.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
The meat business is going through a bad time. It's not just the increasing number of vegetarians, now 7 million in the UK, but the BSE outbreak hit demand for beef and customers' confidence. Then there's the tightening of hygiene regulations stemming from the outbreak of E. coli 0157 in Hamilton, which claimed the lives of 21 people in 1996. The competition from supermarkets too has put a lot of small private butchers out of business. But Sandy sells a lot of locally reared meat, and that's popular, as long as it's lean and a good price. Keeping lean is the name of the game, and Janet Ray's beauty salon in Wells Street provides the opportunity to lose those extra pounds. Exercise is good for you is a message put out by women's magazines and health and beauty agencies of all persuasions. Stop smoking, watch your cholesterol, eat sensibly, and above all, take exercise.
Now a nice straight back.
I'm at my base now.
That's it.
Once you've looked after your size and shape, you can see about covering it up. Shona and Helen know exactly what looks good in the way of woolens. Before the tourists start on their round of the Moffat shops, the displays must be tidied, the shelves replenished and the prices checked. Aran sweaters are always popular. Roy at harvest time has his own shelves to sort and stock to check.
The small independent shop is disappearing, forced out of business by red tape and the growth of big retailers. Following the abolition of retail price maintenance some years ago, supermarkets can use bulk buying to promote lost leaders to draw shoppers into their stores. The small shop doesn't have the volume of sales to support such practices, but by specialising, some may survive. At harvest time, we offer a wide variety of products, delicatessen, whole foods, health foods, and unusual items not available in the supermarket, and people come to us for that reason. But it is becoming increasingly difficult to source these products as the independent producers and wholesalers are also disappearing.
Tom has different problems, but problems nonetheless.
Looking after the day-to-day running of the farm is what I enjoy. I chose to farm and it is my life, but actual farming is less and less what it's about now. Sometimes I feel we are no more than pawns in a European chess game played by politicians, economists and bureaucrats. British agriculture is in recession now because the export markets that we depend upon have been decimated as a result of the BSE crisis and the strength of sterling. Cheaper imports from countries with less stringent controls than are enforced in the UK have given the supermarkets the opportunity to dictate prices to British farmers. Our incomes have dropped by well over 50% over the last 3 years. The average net farm income of Scottish livestock farms in less favoured areas this year is only £2,900. Most working farmers are now in their mid-50s and less than a third have successors to take their place. On top of which, agriculture is now the most regulated industry in the UK. We spend at least 8 hours a week on paperwork. Animals must be ear-tagged and have passports, and every animal movement has to be recorded. This extra workload, coupled with the catastrophic reduction in the workforce, will seriously impinge on the traditional role of the farmer as a custodian of the countryside.
Tom uses contractors for all field operations. J.D. Beattie of Lockerbie are one of very few contractors who will take on draining work using the old clay tile drains. It is labour intensive and requires manual skills and a conscientious attitude. Jimmy and Duke have to finish this job in time for Bobby to get it disked. Bobby works 16 hours a day at this time of the year. From the air-conditioned cab of his 115 horsepower tractor, he is a constant mobile contact with his boss. Trying to keep up with the demands of farmers who are at the mercy of the weather. He hardly has time for a peace. Less susceptible to the weather, but totally dependent on temperature, the last batch of Moffat toffee before lunch comes to the boil. The Blacklocks have a niche market in the sweet world of confectionery, a shop in the High Street and a little factory in Church Street. The toffee has to reach a temperature of 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Privately owned toffee makers are few and far between. Family businesses rarer still. The Blacklocks are one of the last. But they are well established, and young Richard Blacklock should have plenty of years ahead of him. At their busiest, the two Richards will turn out 20 boilings a week, around 1,500 pounds of toffee. The Blacklocks used to have two other sweet shops in Peebles and Pitlochry. Now they have just the one in the High Street, but they wholesale toffee to other retail outlets. Everything stops for lunch. The importance of a healthy diet is fully recognised by the Education Department. Mary and Margaret from the toffee shop make their way to Adamson's. Mr. Brown the rector might manage a bowl of soup if he's lucky. Even farmers stop for lunch.
There's a Colin Davison, will that be the guy from Dumfries? And there's somebody who's got his own.
Right. He was here just a minute ago.
An abrupt end to Mr. Brown's soup. A message. The school photographer has arrived. Angus takes photographs of every child in the school each year, either individually or in a class group. He uses manual 35mm cameras and light-sensitive film, but very soon digital cameras will take over. Playtime is leaving its mark on polished faces and clean clothes. Meantime, the vet has arrived at Chapel Farm.
Yeah, we're going to test for brucellosis, okay, and tuberculosis this morning. The brucella is a blood test, and that's the infectious abortion of cattle, and the TB test is a comparative skin test. That's done in the neck of the cow, and then 3 days later we check the reading of that to see if the animal's positive or negative.
Mum said, "See you look tidy."
I photograph almost all the schools in Dumfries and Galloway, around 120, and quite a number of playgroups too. In a big school, we can photograph 600 in a day, but there are a lot of small schools in this region with between 20 and 60 children. They take a lot longer. It's like photographing an oversized family.
Can I just do one more? You look it too. Good lad, I'm only joking. Well done, Ian, thanks.
Judith is surrogate mother, office staff, accountant and vet, plus wife and housekeeper.
When you marry a farmer, you marry a way of life, and it's a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week commitment. You can't lock the door on animals at 5 o'clock But I was born on a farm and I wouldn't dream of doing anything else. We're vaccinating lambs today for pneumonia and clostridial diseases.
The day flies by. School closes. Judith has to pick up the children, go to the post office and then on to the dentist. At the post office, she can buy stamps for her letters, pay for her TV licence, her telephone bill, her national insurance stamps, her car licence, and collects her pension, if she was old enough.
Hello, could I have a premium bonfire, please?
Tom takes over kitchen duties. He knows an oven when he sees one, but is this a casserole? Graham Campbell is the only dentist in town. He has 2,591 patients. Under the NHS system, 80% of the cost of dental care is paid for by the patient.
I have more patients than I can comfortably treat. I have been trying to engage extra help, but there is a shortage of dentists. Fillings take up a major proportion of my time. Our high sugar diets are largely to blame, especially in the case of children. Fluoridation of drinking water would reduce decay dramatically, but few authorities have implemented it and public opinion is divided.
Before supper, Tom attends to the ewes and orphan lambs. He still finds the best way to persuade a mother to adopt another ewe's lamb is to skin her own dead lamb and use the skin as a coat for the lamb requiring adoption. It's the old-fashioned way, but it works. A spring day finishes at different times for different people. At the end of March, the clocks go forward 1 hour. Bobby will work until dark and beyond. The gardens have waited long for the loosening of winter's grip and erupt now into frantic growth. An army of gardeners emerge to take on the challenge. Mr. and Mrs. Saunders in St Ninian's Road are annuals people looking for a riot of colour in the summer months. Thinking ahead, the Gala Committee discuss the summer programme. Their gardens will have to wait.
Yes, when they went round and down to the Mercury. Doreen, just move across and trace the path of the street, and when they finish, they then get to it.
Duncan and Ian have time for a quick spell on the computer before bed. Football. They can live out the dreams, whatever their team does in real life. Judith needs the computer for the farm accounts, but she is not as quick as the boys. Computers were not part of her childhood scene. It's light enough after work now for a walk with the dogs in Dumcreef Woods before the evening draws in.
Spring drifts into summer, and the countryside beckons with space and beauty. There is no law of trespass, and people can enjoy unhindered access to moor and mountain. Walking is a popular recreation. Matthew White and his family from Craigieburn are close to the route that traverses Scotland from west to east. Around 2,000 walkers cover the 200-mile trail each year. The forests too, part of the nation's heritage, have signed footpaths. The Moffat Water Valley is one of 3 areas in Britain designated as a tactical training area, where RAF and NATO pilots are permitted to fly at levels down to 100 feet. The valley has also become host to the Border Forest Trust Wildwood Group, who this year start on the establishment of a forest at Carifern. The feral goats which have lived in the glen for hundreds of years will be removed before the main planting takes place. Ian and Duncan's pet lambs are growing fast and beginning to look like serious pocket money. They have a few more weeks before they too will be removed. Everything is growing. Agnes Saunders' bedding plants have burgeoned, rivaled in their abandon only by Margaret and John Todd's display just a couple of doors away. Mrs. Patterson's house is taking shape. Speed of erection is one of many attractions that Bob Little, proprietor of RGL Homes, appreciates in the timber frame construction.
We can build a 2-bedroom bungalow in 10 to 12 weeks, from the time we start the foundations to the handing over of the key.
The 29-kilometre stretch of the A74 from Johnson Bridge to Paddy's Rickle Bridge was upgraded to motorway standard in under 2 years. It cost £100 million. 30,000 vehicles use the road daily. Now they're tidying up and landscaping. Wildlife and the environment were given high priority. 600,000 trees were planted. Moffat shopkeepers live off summer tourists, with foreign visitors the biggest spenders. They know that Scottish tweed and knitwear are hard to beat, and they can buy without paying the 17.5% value-added tax that British residents must pay. The museum doesn't have quite the same pulling power, but the committee are working on new exhibitions and adding to their already comprehensive collection of total artefacts.
What steps should be taken to try and...
For the more active, a round of golf. There are over 200 members at Moffat Golf Club and no waiting list. The annual subscription is £230 for both ladies and gentlemen. This year, lady members were granted full membership and equal rights, the end of male domination in the clubhouse. The Beech Grove Bowling Club has also changed its structure. The separate ladies and gentlemen's clubs have combined. Membership now stands at around 40. The young and adventurous join the guide movement.
We ran a summer camp up Moffat Water Valley this year. The girls loved it, though it did rain rather a lot. We have 3 groups of girls, rainbows aged between 5 and 7. There are 15 of them. The brownies aged between 7 and 11 are our biggest group with 27. We like the girls to be involved in the community in the true guiding tradition. At Christmas time, the brownies entertain the residents at Bank Foot. Then there are all the usual activities, with camping and barbecues top of the popularity list. Singing in the Rain comes down the list a little.
Bring and buy sales, coffee mornings, jumble sales. Almost every Saturday morning of the year there's something on at the town hall. This morning it's the turn of Kirkpatrick Juxta Church. The minister, Jack Stewart, is on the door taking the money and keeping the peace. They're raising funds for Moffat Cottage Hospital. Will this fit the spare bed in the guest room? And when there's not a coffee morning, there's another event. Not every dog wants to be called the Dandy Dinmont, but at least they're Scottish and something special. There are only 107 registered Dandy Dinmonts in Great Britain, and most of them seem to be here. The town hall serves other community purposes. Behind the main hall is the library, where books and cassettes may be borrowed free of charge. The Women's Royal Voluntary Service run a books on wheels service for those unable to get into the library. The hub of the local services is at the other side of the town hall. This is where Annie Hutchin works.
It's not quite a one-stop shop, but very nearly. As registrar for the area, I registered 92 weddings, 32 births and 43 deaths this year. We are getting more and more weddings in Moffat, mostly visitors to the town.
On the farm, there's a brief lull after lambing, and then hay and silage jostle for attention. The traditional importance of farming to the Moffat community is slipping further and further down the scale. Modern agriculture requires less labour. The same jobs have to be done, but machinery takes the place of manpower. Many sheep farmers employ contractors to shear their sheep, but Tom and his father manage to cope themselves, fitting it in between the silage and haymaking. Dipping is another matter. It is labour-intensive and animals need to be handled carefully. Casual labour, often retired or redundant shepherds are called in to help. It's certainly not the time for the Hutchison family to take a holiday. Others do. Moffat's High Street is thronging, and the police are getting a chance to show how user-friendly they can be. Coach tours are popular with foreign tourists. Other foreign visitors use bed and breakfast accommodation. There's a Dutch family staying at Rock Hill, the Belgers. The tourist office offers free information about the area and a booking service for accommodation. Mrs. Gibson can tell them all they need to know. She's wedded to the tourist business. Not only is she in charge of the tourist office, but her husband is Jimmy Gibson. Jimmy and his sister Margaret run the family bus and coach business in town.
The business has been in the family for 3 generations, and James, who has just come into the firm, makes the 4th. We've recently dispensed with our local service runs to concentrate on our tour and coaching side. Like most businesses, we have our problems. Just now, it's the paperwork associated with European community legislation. Then there's the price of diesel. 80 pence plus a litre in Scotland, but only 45 to 50 pence in Europe. Hardly a level playing field.
Visitors need entertaining. Ian Campbell looks after the boats in the station park. Children are drawn to water. The paddling pool used to be the magnet for the little ones, but it was closed this year for reasons of hygiene. It's to be replaced by a water feature. The Belger family are going to do some shopping, but first they need money. They have Dutch guilders and want to exchange them for British pounds. They could use euros, but they are not in common circulation. The pound is strong at the moment, so they will receive a poor exchange rate. Every tourist calls at Moffat Woolen Mill. You can buy the whole range of tourist merchandise as well as traditional Scottish knitwear and tweeds, and of course kilts, at up to £375. Mr. Belger might have bought if it wasn't for his family. Many of the smaller shops in town are privately owned. Here Angus and Vicky Lee opened Spindrift last year. Lydia has the bookshop. And Vi Little has the attractive shop Forget-Me-Not. Back in the high street for a cup of coffee, and then a few minutes browsing the shelves of the Moffat tweed shop. Fantasia is a bewitching gift grotto into which Moira and John Carroll have been coaxing customers for 11 years now. If books are your interest, Andy Armstrong's Emporium is the place to visit. No hard sell here. Elsewhere the work goes on. Annie's lunch break is not spent as you might expect. She breeds and shows Suffolk sheep. George Hood will settle for a sandwich. The weather is too tempting to stay indoors. There are trout in the Moffat water and salmon in season, but just being out in the countryside is pleasure enough for George. A riverbank regeneration scheme is in progress in the valley. The riverside has been fenced off to encourage vegetation to grow. Trees are being planted, and croys have been built at Palmwoody. The dikers are not so happy with the weather. The midges are out. The stone walls are expensive to erect, around £12 a square metre. A good diker can build 7 yards of dike in a day, without midges. The Belgers have found their way to Station Park. They've time to fill in before lunch. Someone else with time on his mind is Andy Newlands.
I've wound this clock for 29 years. 71 steps up and 71 down. 3 times a week, winter and summer. There are not many manual clocks like this left.
In the clock chamber of St Andrew's Church, Andy is just a step away from some of the best views of Moffat. Next year, this view will be different. The Mercury Hotel will be gone, and the new cooperative store will rise behind it. For an even better view, nothing can improve on man's earliest vehicle for aerial exploration. The rough hand of man scratches and screeves the earth's surface to create paths for his movement. The Reverend Mole officiates at the parish church and the little church at Womfrey. He is also chaplain at Moffat Academy and the hospital.
The membership of St Andrews is between 500 and 550. On a Sunday, the average attendance would be approximately 100 people. The church provides an opportunity for worship, but also for fellowship and for service. And I think many people see the church as an opportunity to put into practice their Christian faith, both in terms of belief, but also in terms of serving the community.
There are 4 churches in Moffat. St John's, the Episcopal Church, is in Burnside. The minister is the Reverend Martin Robson, who combines St John's with his charge in Lockerbie.
I think that people often feel undervalued or worthless in life because they don't know themselves to be of worth to God. And I think God can give value to people's lives, and it can give a meaning to people's lives. My role is to help people to, in the context of worship, to be in the presence of God.
At the Catholic Church, Father Donnelly's Sunday is made up of a shuttle run between St Luke's Moffat and Holy Trinity Lockerbie. Attendance at Mass is generally 60 to 70. Father Donnelly sees practical applications for religion.
The gospel is a set of values, it's a relationship with Jesus Christ, that people inform themselves, inform their consciences and act accordingly, and if there is social injustice then it is identifiable and they're called to act.
St Mary's closed last year and is waiting to start a new career as an alternative health centre. The congregation have moved into the church hall.
But we come before you through no worthiness of our own, but simply in the confidence of the promise.
Their numbers are few, but their dedication remains. The Belgers will not be here on Sunday. They are leaving for Tweedsmuir, but more will take their place. Over 15,000 units booked into the caravan site last year. At a modest charge of £4.25 per person, mid-season and free use of the showers, it takes the sting out of holiday expenses. And you can hook up to electricity for an extra £1.60. The hotels cater for a different market, with the visitor looking for more sophisticated comforts. Things were a little quieter in Moffat last year. The strength of the pound didn't help, and the upgrade of the A74 to motorway standards tended to dissuade people from breaking their journey. Many people return each year to Moffat for the gala celebrations in July. The shepherd and shepherd's lass are elected by the townspeople. There are events throughout the week, with the shepherd's ball on Friday night. Sharon Hunter is gala queen this year, and Shona is seeing that she looks her best. The fancy dress competition takes place at Station Park. Vice chairman of the gala committee is another hat that Captain Alistair MacDonald wears. The crowning of the Queen is the highlight of the day. Mrs. Brown, wife of the rector of Moffat Academy, is this year's crowning lady.
Sharon, Queen of Upper Annandale.
The Edinburgh Woolens Road Race is one of the events of Gala Week. More than 200 runners cover a 15-kilometre course. Janice keeps her finger on the stopwatch. No one wants an extra second on their time. The highlight of the week is the torchlight procession. At the Hope Johnson Park, a huge bonfire is fuelled by the spent torches. Children escape from their parents in the dark and head for mischief. Or the whistle. The summer coasts to an end. The tennis tournament is one of the oldest in Scotland, first held in 1878. The open classes attract quality players from outside the area, giving local players a taste of the big time. It's not Wimbledon, but there are plenty of cups, and the 131 entrants only paid between £3 and £5 to enter. Some people prefer to let someone else do the running about. At the sheepdog trials at Granton, the shepherds set their dogs against the sheep, and each other, and catch up on all these things they didn't talk about last time they met. Who's going to win? Will it be Meg or Gail, Moss, Glenn or Stuart Watson's lad? The agricultural show on the last Saturday of August closes the commas on the summer events. Joyce Miller has been show secretary for 11 years.
The Moffat Show Society is strong just now. Of course, it's always a job to get new blood on the committee, but that's the same with everything. This year's show was one of the best ever. The weather was great, and over 4,000 people came through the gates. Show entries were well up. We had 470 sheep, with Cheviots, Blackface and Texels all well supported. $197 cattle and about 120 horses, plus classes for goats, dogs and poultry. In the home industries and horticultural sections, we had the usual classes for baking, needlework, floral art, flowers and vegetables. There were over 700 entries forward. Not bad considering people don't have the same time or interest in home crafts as they used to.
Show or no show, animals still need feeding. Work must go on, and in summer that means until darkness falls. And sometimes later still, while the setting sun sends most of Moffat to bed, up at Croft Head tractors roar and thump. A late crop of haylage snatched from autumn's grasp.
The different cycles of life rotate at different speeds. Some triggered by nature's clock, others by the whim of man. September, October, November, mellow and muted. Up on the high ground there is an edge to everything. The seasons, the colours, the smell of heather and peat. Loch Skene feeds the greymure's tail and is fed in turn, in the summer, by an upward trickle of visitors. Autumn, the natural time of ripening, of harvest. autumn in Moffat is also a time for remembering. Irene Park was the instigator of the Dowding Memorial and the commemorative service.
It is 55 years since the end of World War II, but people still remember. And each year this service is held at the memorial in Station Park to commemorate and give thanks for the contribution of Moffat-born Hugh Dowding, who masterminded the Battle of Britain, the success of which was instrumental in saving Britain from invasion.
Royal Auxiliary Air Force, Group Captain Richard Miles.
In the countryside, the pressure is off. It's a matter of checking stock and tidying up. And trying out a new dog maybe. And thinking ahead, in George Wilson's case, a Galloway man through and through, he is preparing for the bull sales at Castle Douglas in February. And if working days are behind you, there's time to reminisce at the traditional Saturday meeting place of Moffat Worthies, the foot of the clock tower. If you want to know how things used to be done, how things should be done, that's where to go. Tom is loading lambs for Longtown Market. Ian and Duncan's pet lambs are going too. A lot of livestock, especially store stock, is sold through auction markets, but more and more fat animals are sold direct to the retailer's supplier. The success or failure of a year's work is settled in a matter of seconds. £30 for a lamb. Not enough to make Father Tom smile, but Ian and Duncan aren't complaining. Mrs. Patterson's house is finished.
Morning. Morning, Mrs. Patterson.
Morning.
What, in the morning?
It's lovely.
Have you give for your keys then?
Yes, that would be nice, thank you.
Here we are.
It has every modern comfort and convenience.
The river, and it was just quite beautiful. We got up to Adam.
Moffat ladies working on another project, initiated by Peggy Gourley, are not so far forward. They are creating a wall hanging to commemorate the millennium. Each panel illustrates an aspect of Moffat's life. The finished tapestry will be hung in a prominent place in the town. 36 ladies are contributing their sewing skills to the work. The older children went back to school on August the 22nd, but the very young come here for their first taste of learning and socialising. Small and Tall are an independent organisation of charitable status aiming to offer good quality childcare at a reasonable price to the local community. They take children from 0 to 12 years and are open from 8 AM until 6 in the evening. Parents who need a safe environment for their children through the day, for whatever reason, can benefit from the service. The children benefit too. On the recreation scene, it has all changed. The Moffat Rams were formed in 1994. Recently, they have made their mark on the local rugby scene. Last season, they won the Glasgow District's Division 3 Championship and were unbeaten in the league for the whole season. Football is the nation's game. A lot of new blood in the team and things are still a bit ragged, but Upper's past glory spurs them on. Helped by a nod aside from the crowd.
Behind them, Neil!
At the blacksmith there is no thought of recreation. Father and son, Ronald and Graham Patterson, have their hands full. They handle everything from sharpening shears to welding heavy equipment. Domestic jobs have to be fitted in between emergency calls from commercial businesses and farmers with the weather to cheat.
sorry to disturb you, and I wonder if there's anything you can do about this for me. I think I've gone over a stone there, and it seems to have cut into there. I don't know whether we can sharpen it or something. I don't know.
This afternoon?
Oh, that's lovely. What, after lunch?
Yeah, okay.
Jolly good. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Of course, everybody wants their work done yesterday. Alistair is on his way to the Probus meeting, but first he must call at the chemist. The pharmacy serves the 2 medical practices in the town, while supplying over-the-counter remedies for all the minor ailments for which prescriptions are not necessary.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Anne is here to collect a prescription for one of her clients. She is a senior home carer. While Alistair makes his way up to Moffat House, Anne heads to the co-op. Part of her job is shopping for those of her clients who are unable to get out and do it for themselves. If you've remembered to bring your dividend card, you'll get a 5% discount on all Co-op branded goods. All the supermarkets have schemes to attract your loyalty. Probus is a club for retired professional business people. Its purpose is to promote general fellowship between like-minded people. They meet fortnightly at the Moffat House Hotel and listen to invited speakers, organise outings to places of interest, and enjoy an occasional club luncheon or dinner. As a result of a recent recruitment campaign, they now have more than 40 members from all walks of life. The lame and the halt of the machinery world continue to be made good at the hands of Norald and Graham, but Alistair's mower has slipped down the list, ousted by an exhaust system from Campbell's garage, and the chainsaw that wasn't quite finished. For things beyond repair, there's a chance of new life in a different form. Rubbish used to be dumped and buried, but today recycling is the buzzword. Bottles and cans have a straightforward passage, often coming back into the world as they went out. For other materials, the transition is a little more painful. With no guarantee of what you might be the next time round. Or whether there will be a next time. Anne arrives at Grace's, one of her clients, with the shopping.
No, Grace.
All right, Anne.
Hi, Grace.
Hello,
How are you
Anne.
shopping?
All right,
All
darling.
There you are.
Lovely to see you.
That's nice.
Anyway.
I'll make her a cup of tea, see to the house and have a wee chat. It's great to be able to do enough to allow people to stay in their own homes and keep their independence, and yet let them feel secure knowing that somebody is there to help if the need arises.
Oh, thank you. I put my care cord on me. I fall down a lot, and I have to have this care cord, and see, once I'm down on the floor I can't get up. So I have to press the care cord, and lady speaks to me, "You all right, Mrs. Warboys?" And I say, "I'm on the floor and I can't get up." And they said, "All right, we'll send somebody there." And the ambulance men come and pick me up. Yeah, I mustn't grumble whatsoever.
At Bankfoot there is permanent accommodation for 20 elderly people. Janet Beattie is the matron.
It is a voluntary, non-profit making home set up in 1964 by Moffat people and open to all. We provide 24-hour care and have a staff ratio of rather more than 1 to 1. Every resident has his or her own room, which we try to make into a home within a home. It is so important to have some of your own furniture and personal things about you as you get older. We do all we can to respect the dignity, privacy and personal choice of our residents, whilst also offering the companionship that comes from being within the Bankfoot community.
There are a variety of services available to senior citizens of Moffat. The school kitchen prepares hot meals for the Meals on Wheels service run by the WRVS. Mary and Margaret are on today, delivering hot lunches to 16 to 20 people who have difficulty in preparing food for themselves. The service is available 3 times a week at a modest charge of £1.40. Another WRVS service that puts food where it is needed is the luncheon club that is held in St John's Church Hall every Tuesday.
The soup today is chicken broth. This is guaranteed to put a lining on your stomach. Lunch costs £1, and of course that includes the chat. Our role in the community is to serve wherever we are needed, especially in emergencies. But going without lunch could well be an emergency if you're not able to fend for yourself.
Lunch seems to be a top priority everywhere. Alistair's repair is still waiting its turn. He'll be lucky to get it today. Mrs MacDonald is busy preparing Alistair's lunch.
Shall I start?
Yes, certainly, dear. Don't let you get cold.
After lunch, the Evergreen Club is a place to be on Thursdays. They meet fortnightly in the Proudfoot Institute for a cup of tea, a chat and some sort of entertainment. Today they are having a Burns afternoon, celebrating the bard with songs and verse. At the blacksmith's, Graham is trying to keep all the plates spinning. Alistair's mower has reached the lathe. Ronald has been called out. Fortunately, the lathe will work away on its own. It's had lots of practice, and Graham can get the exhaust system welded up in time for John. John has his own deadlines to meet. He is running an MOT test on a customer's car. Every car has to pass a Ministry of Transport test when it is 3 years old and every year thereafter, in order for it to be licensed for road use. Its brakes, lights, body condition, level of pollution from engine emissions, tyres, seat belts, steering and fuel system must meet prescribed standards. It makes sense. You can get into serious trouble at 70 miles an hour on a motorway if something goes wrong. No problems here, just a £34 bill to pay. By 5 o'clock, Ronald likes to be up to date as possible, with the urgent jobs at least completed. John's exhaust has the edge over Alistair's mower. That's John happy?
Hello? Hello? Just coming down. Is my cylinder ready?
Yes, we have it here.
Not that one.
Yes, completely reconditioned. Better,
Good.
better than new.
And Alistair is ecstatic.
Amazing. I wouldn't.
After a long day in the clangor of the workshop, it's good to get home to some peace and quiet. Soothing little Imogen is work Graham is happy to handle. For others, the autumn evening is the signal for the start of another round of activities. The brownies arrive to plant bulbs to brighten the church gardens in the spring. Not quite as the book says, but with a little bit of brownie magic. Intrigue and deception at the bridge table in the Proudfoot Institute. A special occasion for the residents of Dowding House, which offers private flats for ex-RAF and Royal Flying Corps personnel or their spouses. The moderator of the Church of Scotland is paying a visit. Past aerial glories and tragedies are commemorated in pictures and tapestry.
They decided they'd have to do something to commemorate it. And this is what they come up with. It's 3 years now. I've been so lucky everywhere I've gone. And after the Blitz,
Elsewhere in the town, a special activity is underway. The creation of hundreds of lanterns for a Millennium Parade to be held on January the 1st, 2000. All the young people are getting involved. Here, the brownies are busy with paste and scissors in the Scout Hall. The Crusaders, a Christian youth group, have taken over the town hall. Some of the older Crusaders have opted out to rehearse for their Christmas play. There's a noticeable absence of noise at the drop-in centre, where a sponsored silence is in progress to raise money for children in need. Helen Whitfield was a prime mover in the centre's formation.
Young people need a place to chill out, a safe environment to enjoy themselves, and also to develop life skills. We are open to young people between the ages of 12 and 25 and run all sorts of activities, and we are always available to advise and assist whatever the need may be.
At the town hall, the community council meets once a month to discuss matters that affect the town and its residents.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has gone 7:30, so if you don't mind, we'll start the meeting.
Though they have no powers to legislate, the community council are a powerful voice for the people and can catch the ear of the local authorities. Jane Anderson's shorthand keeps up with the events for the Moffat News. Everything that is said tonight will be reported in the 125-year-old newspaper, part of the Dumfries Newspapers Group and one of the few remaining privately owned weeklies in Scotland. Everybody reads the Moffat News.
July, and before...
Tonight's meeting is about the proposed creation of a wildlife water reserve at Dyke Farm Quarry as part of a deal by the quarry masters to extend their quarrying activities. Not everyone likes the idea. Debate is not absent from the other end of the town hall, where the ladies of Moffat and District Flower Club cast critical eyes over the competition entries before the professional demonstrator makes her presentation.
And you can imagine seeing birds and all sorts of things in the shape of the tree, you know.
Down at the Coachman, a home derby is in full swing between the Coachman Ladies A darts team and the B team. A half of lager can make all the difference. It makes a pleasant break for Anne. especially when she wins. After a game of darts, there's nothing better than a fish supper. The Moffat chippy is at the heart of the night-eating scene. Bettina, or Tush, as she is familiarly called, has been battering and frying and chatting up her customers for 63 years. A piece of cod and a poke of chips is £2.50. Still one of the best buys going. And good for your health. And while you wait, the one-armed bandit will take care of your small change. Salt and vinegar? Sauce? Judith has changed out of her jeans and wellies to put on another hat. Chairman of the school board. They support the school in its efforts to provide the best all-round education for the children in the area. They have input in the development of school policies, whether they relate to homework, bullying, or the latest white paper on education. Elsewhere in the school, all those clubs and learning activities that help enliven the winter evenings bustle and buzz in halls and classrooms. The computer class for those who don't know the difference between a menu and a modem. From brain to brawn. To be fit is in. Exercise is good for you. The doctors are clear on that. The government agrees. It saves them money. At the sports barn, a variety of carefully thought out healthy punishments are overseen by PE instructor Brian Orr. Upstairs in the exercise room, it is not quite so hectic. If you need advice, there's someone available to help.
The whole thing. I do. And the lying on there with the, you know, and that one. And that you...
If you prefer, you can work out at the upholstery class on Wednesday evenings in the academy. Walter Clark has been taking this class for many years. It always has a full complement. Developing Artistic Skills is the title of professional artist Gary Bond's course. The night evening sessions cost £25.60. You can work in whatever medium you like, oils or watercolour, pastel or pencil. Gary will help you improve your skills and realise your potential.
Noticing whether the out-breath...
Body and mind in control. Inner peace. The Eastern influence of yoga is widespread. Many people seeking relief from the stress of the modern-day work environment and a perceived materialistic world turn to yoga and meditative practices for peace and inner growth. The Scout Hall is brought into commission for the afternoon class in calligraphy. Back in the sports barn, there's a change of pace. The Moffat Woolly Jumpers Trampoline Club, under the expert tuition of Brian Wilson, regularly feature in the prize lists in Scottish national competitions. Starting them early is the name of the game. Jeanette and Robert introduced tennis to the very little ones, with some easy skills. Exercise is being recognised as an essential part of a child's day. Health experts have identified a lack of exercise as a key contributor to health problems in later life. Children are being actively encouraged to give their computer games a rest and get involved in some physical activity. Around 12 cubs and 23 beavers meet in the Scout Hall every week. Usually there is a scout troop in Moffat as well, but it has been temporarily disbanded owing to lack of numbers. There are competitions and tests to enter and badges awarded for different skills. And in summer there is camping and trekking to look forward to. Indoors it is the noisiest games and the wildest activities that are always the most popular. The youth theatre is in Dundanion Road. It owes its existence to Erica Hall. She likes to describe it as a youth theatre in education, as its activities extend beyond amateur dramatics. It was recently completely refurbished with funding of £230,000 from the National Lottery Charities Board. Children now flock to attend its activities, with workshops taking place 5 nights a week. Scottish dancing needs all your concentration and a lot of patience from your instructor. Myra Shuttleworth knows just how to bring out the best in her young dancers.
4. Well done. Good. Ready together. And 1. Slide, slide, slide. 2. Good, Rachel.
Gliding and rotating round Beatty School Hall are the movers and shakers of yesterday, and those who just enjoy ballroom dancing. John Caskey puts them through their repertoire of quick steps and foxtrots, waltzes and the Pally Glide. Moving to a different rhythm, an import from across the Atlantic has blown into Moffat. Still very much a minority hobby, but enthusiastically supported by its followers. Line dancing keeps the toes a-tapping and the hips a-swinging every Wednesday night at the Town Hall. Move up the Annan Valley on a Monday night and look in at the Valley Hall, and you'll find them carpet bowling. It used to be just people from the valley, but today numbers are bolstered by members from the town. The game's the same: critical decisions, banter and chat. Leaving the Valley Hall under an autumn moon makes a win or a loss of little moment. It's an evening out, a game and good company.
The countryside sheds the trappings of autumn and shrinks beneath a coverlet of snow. Snow is part of the Moffat winter scene, but rarely lies for more than a few days, other than on the mountain tops. Whether this is an indication of global warming or no more than a natural progression through a weather cycle, it is too early to say, but older people remember the winters of their youth to be far more severe. It can still put at risk life and limb. Although snow may be less common than it was, flooding appears to be more frequent, with local rivers regularly challenging their banks and spreading across the floodplains. The mountain burns at Birk Hill are among the culprits causing chaos downriver. In the forest, the work goes on in almost any weather, but a sunny day is a welcome bonus. The harvester is working in the forest above Auchen Castle, Hugh Mackay's territory.
A machine like this can harvest approximately 20 cubic metres of timber an hour, barring breakdown. This machine costs £225,000 to buy new. It can handle trees up to 40 centimetres in diameter. On steep ground, or where selective felling is required, the skills of the chainsaw operator come into play. The logs are cut into lengths under agreement with the timber merchants. The harvesting process is almost totally mechanised now. This machine uses the branches of the trees stripped by the harvester as a bed on which to move over and between the stumps of the felled trees. At present, the price of the timber is depressed by the strong pound and the resulting imports from abroad. Construction timber is only fetching £30 to £35 per cubic metre at the roadside. The timber is transported to markets in Workington, Stirling and Carlisle to be used for pulp, chipboard and in the construction industry.
Of course, the primeval use for timber remains as valid as ever. The living fire is hard to beat, and log-burning stoves are both popular and efficient. Everyone agrees. Winter in the town can be grey and tedious, and Mrs. Patterson doesn't have a living fire in her home. She aims to brighten things up with some flowers from the Moffat Garden Centre. A nice cyclamen perhaps, £3.99? Seems a fair price. Janice has changed her job. She works in the hospital in Dumfries now. It means getting up early, whatever the weather, and the weather today is wet and cold. But it is the same for everyone. Anoraks, scarves and woolly hats for Ian and Duncan. And regulation gear for the police officer at the local station. Waterproofs and a waist belt with the necessary equipment to carry out his duties. Baton and handcuffs to defend and restrain. A radio for communication. Notebook for evidence and basic first aid for emergencies. The problem with working out of town is the cost of getting to work. Both petrol and diesel are more than 80 pence per litre, but Janice likes the buzz and challenge of a busier workplace. Of course, there's always the bus. It takes longer, but it costs rather less, at £3 return. Gibsons are moving out of the local bus service after 81 years. This is a historic occasion, their last run to Dumfries. The route will be serviced by stagecoach from now on. The winter is a hard time on the farm, especially for Tom, who is one of the few farmers who farm in the Proven traditional way. Most animals, apart from hill sheep, are wintered indoors now. The hardiness of the breeding stock has suffered, and disease outbreaks can be difficult to contain. But there are labour savings, and farm workers look for better conditions than their predecessors. These heifers will soon be calving. The breeding ewes have been brought in to be scanned. Ultrasound is used to identify the number of lambs carried by the ewes. The operator can read the result on the screen. Those sheep carrying twins or triplets are marked.
Triplets.
And will be separated and given extra feed and attention. Winter brings extra work for health and emergency services too.
Traditionally, flu epidemics have been serious winter problems. This year, free flu vaccinations have been made available to all people over 60 and other selected at-risk groups. There are 2 medical practices in the town involving 4 full-time doctors. At our practice, we operate an open access surgery system, while our colleagues in the other practice operate an appointment system.
You'd like to have a seat?
Yes,
I'll wait shortly.
Yeah, okay, right.
At another practice, there is already a queue. Andrew Miller and partners, veterinary surgeons, come down from their main practice in Lockerbie every Monday and Thursday evening. Dr. Gillis' practice holds an antenatal clinic once a week. Dawn is here for a routine checkup. She is expecting a baby in December.
Okay, next please.
Scott, on the other hand, has no such expectations. A booster vaccination against distemper and hepatitis is what he needs, but the vet checks him over at the same time. Dawn has her blood pressure recorded. She will have to go to Dumfries to have her baby. The maternity wing at the Moffat Cottage Hospital was closed a long time ago, and there is no prospect of it reopening. But the hospital offers many vitally important services to the community, and threats of closure in the past have been fiercely resisted by the townspeople. The outpatient services, which save patients from the long journey to Dumfries, are particularly appreciated. The day centre service operates from Monday to Friday and offers places for 8 people. They can receive a variety of treatments, including physiotherapy and occupational therapy, but often a chat over a cup of tea provides an excellent therapy in itself. Margaret Little, podiatrist, is in attendance 2 or 3 days a week. Sylvia Crosby gets all the aches and pains eased and worked out of the system.
We'll leave it at that. I don't want to exhaust you.
Outside the National Health Service, an increasing number of alternative therapies are in demand. Private alternative practices are now as common as allopathic ones, though not as stringently regulated. Massage is used widely to relieve the stress, both physical and mental, that is considered by many to be an integral part of modern-day life. The hospital offers a different ambience. Nurse manager Elizabeth Shannon is in charge. There are 15 beds, 5 are for long-term geriatric use and 10 for general practice. Children below the age of 16 cannot be taken. The hospital is attended by doctors from the local practices, and surgical and medical clinics are held throughout the week, attended by visiting consultants, a psychiatrist and orthoptist. Winter time is emergency time for all the services. The Moffat Fire Brigade is operated by a well-trained part-time crew who are called into service through bleepers clipped to their belts. The local police are involved in most emergencies, with backup available from units in Lockerbie and Dumfries.
Fire control from Moffat Station, pass your message over.
Though the fire crew are part-time, they are trained to react speedily and efficiently. They attend between 70 and 80 call-outs a year, with road accidents and special services almost as numerous as fire emergencies. They have special equipment to tackle road accidents. Other emergencies can develop from seemingly benign activities in the countryside. The mists that sit softly on the hilltops may deceive and disorientate the casual walker, and many people forget to take into account the drop in temperature that accompanies altitude. And even the best equipped are not immune to the vagaries of difficult terrain, and accidents can ensue. The Moffat Mountain Rescue Team are there to pick up the pieces. Neil Sutherland is their team leader.
We're a voluntary organisation with about 30 trained members in our team, but if necessary we can call on other teams in the Borders and Galloway.
We're also trying to confirm with the father when we make contact is when he's taken up to Gameshope walk in the past, exactly how have they got here.
Most years we get around 10 or 11 call-outs, often involving lost or injured hill walkers. Recently though, there has been an unhappy increase in call-outs related to people taking their own lives. We run regular training weekends in conjunction with the police and are fortunate in having the cooperation of the Navy, who make available a rescue helicopter from HMS Garnet, both for training and for rescue missions. The rescue service is free, backed by popular consensus within the team.
The Moffat Ramblers have, so far, managed to complete their walks without recourse to the services of the Mountain Rescue Team. The 20-strong group go out once a month from September to April. Theirs is a fairly laid-back affair, with hardship avoided wherever possible.
Where's the box, Fizz? You seen it?
Other outdoor enthusiasts are the Moffat Wildlife Club. Their membership of around 50 meet monthly in the town hall and organise visits to places with wildlife interest during the summer months. Jock de Serbo, president, and Ian and Ron are among the Lochwood Oaks. The rich ecosystem is a mecca for naturalists. Jock is a keen photographer, and the woods have yielded him some of his best photographs. In the town in winter, the outdoor scene is muted, but the sombre commemoration of those who fell in the 2 world wars and other conflicts since is always well attended. Many of the onlookers and those taking part in the service were involved in the last World War. The rector of Moffat Academy, Mr. Jeff Brown, officiates.
Good morning and welcome to this service of remembrance in this last year of the century.
The young and old of most local organisations are represented.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
Indoor events run into one another in a confusion of shows and concerts. The Academy sets the Christmas scene with proud parents oblivious to the occasional lapses in memory or fingering. Duncan has the stage to himself and handles it with measured self-assurance. At the Chambers Art Gallery, gallery owner Brian Larmour is staging his current exhibition, one of the 8 exhibitions of predominantly local artists' work displayed each year. Young and up-and-coming artists are often featured to help in their efforts to become known. The theme tonight is Moffat. The wall hanging is finished. No final home for it has been decided upon, but it's going to be displayed here in the meantime. Marion Lovell, the designer, and Elsie Roberts, who brought all the pieces together, are just delighted the project is completed. In the Old Well Theatre, the Upper Annandale Dramatic Society Choir are being put through their paces by Willie Williamson. They practice in the upstairs room, new accommodation at the theatre made available through the £439,000 programme of improvement completed in 1998. The Christmas lights go on and set the scene for shopping. A new feature just 2 years ago, they are popular with the townspeople and shopkeepers alike. Back at the theatre, it's interval time at the Christmas pantomime. Time for a drink, for the audience as well as 2 Santas, alias lighting operators, cooling down from the heat of their cubicle. It's party time everywhere. The Moffat Ramblers celebrate another safe arrival home, or anything else that can be used as an excuse for a party. Five miles up the Moffat Water, the Christmas dance is in full swing in the Valley Hall. The Tommy Herdman Band have come over from Hoyk. Tommy's on the accordion and Robert on the drums. On the bar, Pat Hogg gives everyone a good measure, but doesn't forget to take their money. It's mayhem in the kitchen, with Elsie Lermonth at the sink, quietly doing her stuff, while Henry Douglas tears apart the hearts of his audience.
And I swear to God, if I ever see the sun, oh, for any
The younger set are dancing to a different beat at the Proudfoot Institute. The Proudfoot Institute's rescue from near dereliction by a dedicated group of local users is one of Moffat's unsung success stories. Alistair and his wife are here to choose from the dancers the Gala Princess for this year's summer gala celebrations. Janice is discoing too. She's celebrating her 21st. The downside of parties is that if you are driving home, it is better to keep off alcoholic drinks. The police have a right to stop you and breathalyse you. By getting the driver to blow into a bag with a glass phial of crystals attached, the police officers can discover the quantity of alcohol imbibed by the driver. Maureen is okay. Church is the focus of the Christmas festival for most Christians, but the Reverend Jack Stewart, minister at Kirkpatrick Juxta Church, is well aware that the place the church occupies in many people's lives is varied.
Well, these days they come to church because they want to come. They need to worship God. But it has to be said that many people in the parish simply like to know that the church is there. But it doesn't come very high in their list of priorities.
But he does not despair for the future.
And I'm quite certain in my own mind that relevance will return. The relevance of the church's message of faith and hope and love. And for me, the future of the church is in God's hands, and therefore its future is certain. The question mark is that the future of the present church may well be very different.
This year, the Christian commemoration of the birth of Christ has the added significance of being the 2000th anniversary of the event, though that fact is unlikely to be in the minds of many of those celebrating the occasion in the High Street. Was the celebration for the passing of the old millennium or the birth of the new? Perhaps it was for both. But we can do nothing for the past. The river of life flows on. The future, though, is at our disposal. Each person, each creature, each plant, each stone has within it, unwittingly or consciously, a potential for good, for evil. This film shows how life is today, with the hope that it may contribute to the blessings of tomorrow.